but I won't force you to stay. I'd rather you be happy, I'd rather you be free, even if it's without me. Needs no lock and key. I want you to be happy. It isn't love if you aren't free. I'd rather you be free, even if it's without me.
Build your friend, don't make it bend. Take the first step, show them why you're a friend. You've got a vision great, you've got a mission first rate. It's time to communicate, it's time to relate. Build your friend, don't make it blend. Take the first step, show them why you're a friend. Your brand isn't a logo or a color scheme, no, no. It's not a slogan, you know, a trademark or copyright, oh, oh, oh. Build your brand, don't make it blend. Take the first step, show them why you're a brand. Your brand is everything people say when they're talking about you. Reputation is king when it comes to branding. Build your brand, don't make it blend. Take the first step, show them why you're a brand. Your brand begins with you, everything you say and do. Sharing your heart is true will bring customers to you. Build your brand, don't make it blend. Take a first step, show them why you're a brand. How do we spell heart? Your humanity builds empathy, gives authenticity. Your relatable story shows you're trustworthy, that shows your heart. Build your brand, don't make it blend. Take the first step, show them why you're a brand. Have the courage to be real, don't let your fears steal. Power of your view, honesty is the best deal. Build your brand, don't make it blend. Take the first step, show them why you're a brand. When you show your heart, that's when loyalty starts. It will set your brand apart. No one can replace your heart. Feels like I'm living in a country song. With everything in life going wrong. Been down and out for far too long. Feels like I'm living in a country song. I thought I'd dance my last with poverty. I finally made it out and broken free. Now a pile of debts is staring back at me. Try paying with IOUs from friends and family. Feels like I'm living in a country song. With everything in life going wrong. Been down and out for far too long. Feels like I'm living in a country song. I'm losing my home, family's moving soon. I've got 3 weeks till the 1st of June. No idea where I'm gonna find a room. Credit's trash, the bill collector soon. Feels like I'm living in a country song. Everything in life going wrong. Been down and out for far too long. Feels like I'm living in a country song. Looks like every door's closing in my face. I'm a one-legged man in a butt-kicking race. Lord, I could use some grace. It's gonna take a miracle song with everything in life going wrong. Been down and out for far too long. Feels like I'm living in a country song. I know when destruction comes our way, it's clearing out what doesn't need to stay. There's always gonna be a delay between when we receive and when we pray. But good Lord, I just got to say, feels like I'm living in a country song with everything in life going wrong. Been down and out for far too long. Feels like I'm living in a country song. Lord, if this is you preparing ground, please show me there's hope to be found. I'm praying someday my life will rebound. Until then, keep me safe and sound. Feels like I'm living in a country song with everything in life going wrong. Been down and out for far too long. Feels like I'm living in a country song. Oh, I'm living in a country song. Oh, I'm living in a country song.
You say you're afraid to fail. Risk is what success will entail. Great things require great sacrifice. Every great thing comes with a hefty price. Failure's just a learning opportunity. Where's the fear? Set your dreams free. Step out and take the risk. You must go big or go home. Success or bust. Don't keep your gifts inside. Don't let fear make you hide. It may take 100 million tries or more, but if you keep going, one day you'll score. Failure's just a learning opportunity. Lose the fear, set your dreams free. Step out and take the risk. You must go big or go home. Success or bust. Don't keep your gifts inside. Don't let fear make you hide. It may take 100 million tries or more, but if you keep going, one day you'll score. Failure's just a learning opportunity. Lose the fear, set your dreams free. Step out and take the risk. You must go big or go home. Success or bust. Dreams and wishes are safer than reality. Real success requires that you be willing to try again. That's how you turn failure into a win. Failure's just a learning opportunity. Lose the fear, set your dreams free. Step out and take the risk. You must go big or go home. Success or bust. Failure doesn't mean it's time to quit. Failure means you haven't mastered it. Whatever it is you're trying to do, don't let failure take it from you. Figure out where you went wrong. That's how you'll start growing strong. Study what happened and learn. This is how your success you'll earn. Failure's just a learning opportunity. Lose the fear, set your dreams free. Step out and take the risk. You must go big or go home. Success or bust.
Oh, 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 oh. You're here for a reason. You're no accident. You're the answer to a problem. You were heaven sent. You're the only one who has what it will take to be that answer. Make no mistake, and I'll tell you now. You're here for a reason.
And here it is, that time of the evening, yes indeed, when we get started on drawing and chilling. I'm going to flip over here to Adobe, and we are going to show you where we left off. Whoop, not that one. Let's make sure we capture the right, there we go. There we go. That is the correct window. That is where we left off with our Rise of the Techno Savior album. It is time to really start blocking in that background, so that we give it a realistic feel, give it some oomph, if you will. So I'm going to turn off the layers that we've got so that I can work strictly on the background. Boop, 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 boop. It's kind of like seeing it undo in reverse. Funny, huh? Funny, huh? Yeah. I'm hilarious. All right. Turn off the angel. Turn off the bull. Yeah. There we go. Now we got our background sort of blocked out, so we can get started working on that. Mountain terrain leading up to the temple steps. And let me pop back chat open so I can talk to you lovely people. Woohoo! Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. You're forgiven. Spelling is optional in this chat. It's not optional in my writing and chatting chat, but it is optional in art. So we're gonna really give it a darker outline. I'm gonna take out the boot because we don't need the boot. We're gonna boot the boot because it's not what it's all about this time. Make it a bigger eraser just so I can go faster getting rid of that gratuitous nonsense. Okay. Can't wait to get your marbles out. Yeah, that's Ubi's live stream. We don't do marbles on my stream, although you never know. I am actually working on finishing up that a game I started a long time ago, and that may be a stream that I start doing eventually. It's not ready yet, so no promises, but block in that mountain. Doo doo doo. Here we go. And yeah, I know a lot of people find it very fun to get their balls out on stream. Hey, you know? Who am I to criticize? Put some purple mountains majesties in that background. In case you haven't noticed, mountains, waterfalls, these things happen to be some of my favorite of nature's artworks. You'll find me putting them in almost everything. I absolutely loved living in the mountains. I would be living there now, but we could not quite make it work. So, and now we've got Mia Jane here in Iowa, and at the very least, until she's ready to go off to college and start her adult life somewhere, else we will be here with her. She is our main priority at this point in my life. Because I am the kind of girl who believes that family should come first. Hey, it's Steve Gunner. Yeah. I can't compete with Ubies, but I can try. Good to see you, Steve. I hope everything's going well for you this evening. We got Malachi and Ubi and Steve. Thank you guys for joining me. We are right now blocking in the background for the Rise of the Techno Savior album. Purple's a really good choice because we've got all that gold going on and some reds, so it'll work really well against that. It'll cause those golds to really pop. Not to mention, as I was telling Malachi, mountains happen to be one of my favorite landscapes. I love to pair mountains with water. I bet Vermont has some really pretty waterfalls. I've always been a big fan. One of the things that I have loved about the fact that I walk almost everywhere is that you get to see these little things that other people just don't. And some of it is like urban waterfalls that have been created by like pavement that broke, and so it creates this kind of waterfall effect along the road. Had to run to Home Depot making wooden light up Christmas tree decorations. Hey, you know, it is never too late to get started on Christmas stuff. But me and I made paper chain Christmas tree today. She thought that was fun. She and I discussed the fact that if you can't afford it, you can't buy it. That's what your creativity for. You can always make it. And so we made a homemade bracelet. We made paper chains, Christmas tree, and a homemade star topper. And we hung that on our door. So, you know. And then we got to meet a brand new friend today, just down the hall, which she was very excited about. You know, the little things. I try to make it when I'm in full Grammy daycare mode, I try to make it fun for her. So she doesn't feel like she's neglected or unimportant, but knows that she is a very important part of my life and my day. I don't want her to ever feel like she's some kind of afterthought, because she's definitely not. We kind of live our entire life around her little schedule. It's amazing how much a child can dictate your life to you, but no regrets with that. I wouldn't even have ever considered living in Iowa if not for Mia. If I thought it was just my son, I'd figure he's grown and he doesn't really need us, but I know that she does. Well, thank you, Malachi. The thing is, when I was growing up, I had what I call a Christmas and Easter grandmother, because that's about when I saw her, was Christmas and Easter, until I was 10, and then things shifted. At that point in time, she became a real part of my life, and we even spent time down there. Before that, we had never even visited her home. I didn't even know where she lived. I just knew that she showed up for holidays, never for very long, and that she was stingy with her gum when she came. She always made me and my brother split a stick of gum, even though she had like one of those like 20 packs. And that was all I knew about her until I was about 10, really. I didn't know why she wasn't part of my life. I just knew she wasn't. And then when I got to know her, you know, we got to be pretty close. I always wished I'd had her more part of my life when I was younger, because I really could have used somebody who just loved me for me. And that wasn't something my mom could give me. And definitely my dad wasn't part of my life, so he couldn't give it to me either. Well, I don't think he necessarily needs to get off his butt to produce those, Malachi. In fact, I think being on his hind end might actually help him. It's a matter of finding the right girl to be on his hind end with. You know. And yes, we often wish that our children... I wish my son would have more, but I know that he's financially stressed enough with the one he's got that he's not even thinking about one more. When he was younger, it was hilarious. When he was in kindergarten, they called him the little sheik, because if you'd have asked him back then what his plans were for the future, he was going to have 12 wives and 144 children. I think he's changed his mind on that just a little bit. But that was his original plan when he was in kindergarten. I don't think he realized the logistics of that might not prove favorable. You know, kindergartners being kindergartners. Hey, Mini Guitar Society. Good to have you in the chat. Yeah, that's kind of my goal, is that this just should be kind of like relaxing, just a time for you guys to chill out with me and you know, talk about whatever. I'm always up for any kind of conversation you want to have. You might not like my answers, but I'll always answer honestly and truthfully what I think. I've never been really shy about sharing my opinions. It's probably because I grew up with a very opinionated mother who's never hesitated a day in her life to share with you what she thinks. So I guess I grew up believing that my opinions mattered, which is not a bad thing, even if people don't agree with you. You proposed the first... Well, that's sweet. I actually got married the first time when I was the summer before I went into kindergarten. Indeed. And it wasn't to Ubi, because I didn't know him at that point in my life. No. There was a little boy named Brandon, and I had a huge crush on him. And so one day, I decided that we were getting married. I didn't really care about his input on the matter. He didn't really have a choice in it. So, I talked my little girlfriend into being the officiating witness for us, the minister, if you will. And I threw a slip over my head like a veil, and grabbed Brandon, didn't give him any choices in the matter, and we were I do'd before he could say I don't. And then I gave him a great big kiss. And teachers happened to catch a picture of it. They thought it was just adorable. Shared it with my mother. She thought it was just adorable. I'm pretty sure Brandon did not think that was adorable. I probably traumatized the kid for life. Probably became a commitment phobe after that. But at that time in my life, and to a certain degree I still am, I was definitely what you would call a force of nature. Far less a little girl and far more of a force of nature. If I wanted something, it was going to be done somehow, some way, some when. And right then, I wanted Brandon to marry me, so he was going to marry me whether he liked the idea or not. There you go. That's the story of how I got married the first time. And there was a witness, so, you know, it was valid. Nobody told me you can't do it like that. Yes, yes. And I will tell you from my experience. Can't tell you what anybody else's experience will be, but based on my mileage, being a grandparent makes all those years of parenting so worth it. They are so much fun. And part of it is that they're just experiencing life on their own level. They've got no expectations. And by the time you're a grandparent, you know, you know a lot more about what to expect. You know how short this time will be, and you're better able to genuinely appreciate the child for who they are, where they are. You don't have any expectations for them. You're not rushing them to be somewhere or do something. Nobody's judging you by their developmental state. And so you're not really feeling that pressure to perform. And you can just enjoy them for them. I remember holding her in my arms when she was just tiny and she was curled up on my chest, sound asleep. And I was just content to be there with her, just watching over her, holding her, just appreciating her for who she was, where she was, exactly as she was, with no expectation for her to do anything or be anything except herself. I think that's a gift that you get only from that perspective, from when you have that time to realize that, you know, they're only going to be kids for a very short time, and you really do need to appreciate every second of it because it won't last long. Not nearly long enough. One day you're going to look back and wish it had lasted a whole lot longer. But you don't have that perspective when you're a parent because, well, you're in the middle of the trenches. You're busy fighting that war. You're busy feeling judged. You're busy trying to figure it all out. So it's very hard to be a present parent in the same way you can be a present grandparent. Yeah, yeah. My son was very intelligent too. Very, very bright kid. And sometimes a little too bright for his own good. Sometimes a little too observant of people and human behavior. And I was so insecure as a parent, though. There are so many mistakes that I made that I wish I had the chance to go back and undo those, but you can't. You can just move forward with it. And as, you know, was pointed out to me at one point in time when I was bemoaning how many mistakes I made, you know, I'm sitting there reading Genesis chapter 3 and recognizing, you know, to be perfectly honest though, if perfect parenting were a recipe for perfect children, Adam and Eve would never have fallen. You can do everything right, absolutely everything right, and it can still go wrong. Because they're people and they have choices too, and you can't protect them from that. And even if you could, would you really want to? Because then they wouldn't be their own person. They'd kind of be, well, just another rendition of you. That's not quite what we want as parents, most of us. I want my son to be himself, his own person, full right and in his own right. So while I could, maybe in theory, protect him from all the pain, I don't know that it would do him all that much good. Kind of giving texture to these mountains if you're wondering what I'm busy doing over here. He was never a troublesome child. He was just very smart for being 2 years old. Could name off every single action figure that he had. Your son told you the other day that he likes who he is. If I'd made different choices, he'd be a different person. That's true, too. That is very true. And yeah, my son has definitely benefited from watching our choices and some of the consequences that have come. And we've never held back from being honest with him. That a lot of where we are in life is because we made stupid mistakes that we wish we hadn't made. You know, and that if he wants to avoid that same fate, he should try making better choices than we did. And he has such a level head in so many ways. He is light years ahead of where we were at his age in terms of maturity and just ability to handle things. He always amazes me. I just wish that some of it, I wish I could have saved him from some of the pain, but you know, like you said, Mini Guitar Society, he would not be the same person if he had not had those experiences, and I very much love the person that he is, so there it is. We can't get the person he is without the pain of the past, so that did go into shaping him. And you're right, I think we often underestimate that our mistakes can actually be part of what makes the child we have such an awesome human being. That they didn't become that in spite of us, but because of it. So like, you know, there are lots of parts of me that would not be who I am today if my parents had not made the mistakes they made. Had not done the things they'd done, I wouldn't have had to become who I am, and I very much like who I am, so I have no regrets with that. Thank you. Well, I'm glad. Malachi, thank you. Yeah, my kid is an awesome kid. I say kid, he's 30, but he would not consider himself a kid. But he'll always be my baby, so he'll always be a kid in some sense or another, to me anyway. And I'm quite proud of the way he's turned out, by and large. There are things he could work on, obviously. Every person has those, but he is a source of much pride and joy for us both. He does such a good job of being so patient with this little girl. Has far more patience with her than we ever had with him, so there's that. And he works really hard to just be there for her when she needs him. Like, you know, my dad, instead of sticking with me, moved back to Mississippi when I was 4, which he had his reasons for doing it. And I know part of what he thought was that he was the biggest danger to me, he thought. And that was part of his trauma, and his challenge was his belief that he was not any good for me and that I was better off without him. But not having my dad around was devastating in so many ways. And I never wanted that for Mia. I wanted to make sure that she had everything she needed, especially a father. So I was really glad when my son chose to move up here to Iowa rather than be long-term separated from his daughter. very difficult to maintain a long-term relationship with a child of any kind of meaningful. And you always have to watch out for what stories they've told themselves about why you're not there. Because they're not really capable of correctly interpreting things because they just don't have the life experience needed. And so the greater likelihood is that they interpret it to be that there's something wrong with them, something they did to cause this to be, which can be devastating for them for their whole lives, really. Well, that's good, Malachi. Yeah, I think Eddie got a lot. Eddie got some of our worst traits. I mean, I won't lie. He got our mule-headed stubbornness. Both Randy and I uh, would put to shame any jackass in terms of stubbornness, you know. But in many regards, that's also worked in our favor because it means we don't quit, we don't give up, we don't stop. If we want something or if we think something needs to be done, we plow through until it gets done. And if that takes me 40 years, well, it takes me 50. I keep trucking. And Ed did inherit a lot of that. It also can be sometimes that, make it harder for you to admit when maybe you should quit. Maybe you've done something and you need to stop doing it. But by and large, he got the best of us for sure. You lost his mom in 2014, so you went nuts for a decade. Yeah. Well, that is good that you had enough sense to keep him at the top of the priorities list. I can't even imagine what that must have been like to try and raise your son and grieve your wife at the same time. That would be a lot. Um, a lot to try and process, a lot to take in. Of course, I imagine he probably also, you know, statistics are that men don't tend to live long past their spouse unless they have something there anchoring them and keeping them going. And I imagine your son kind of served that purpose. A reason to keep going, even though it might not have felt like you might not have felt like it at points. I really don't know how I would handle it if I lost, Ubi, but I do know that I would have reasons to fight through it. He's been such a part of my life since I was 13 that I don't know, how that would, I don't know how I would handle it. Can't say. But I do know that I would have, for sure, Eddie and Mia Jane as grounders and reasons to keep going. Knowing that they needed me. Yeah, I that is absolutely right. The When she realized that she held her vows completely and lived it till death did she part, that is powerful love to hold on to. It's a powerful moment to realize that somebody loved you enough to dedicate their life to living it with you, and that they saw it through to the very end. You know, especially in a society where that's such a rarity now. People just don't give their lives to somebody else that often. Quite often it's it's no longer till death do you part, but till love hurts and makes it uncomfortable for me, and then I'm done. Which is not exactly a recipe for longevity, because truth is, love often hurts. It's not whether love's going to hurt you or not, it's what you're going to do with it when it does. And that moment of truth comes, and then you get to decide how real is your love. How much of it is just how they make you feel, and how much of it is really you being willing to choose their good even when they've hurt you their worst. And I'm glad to say that Ubi and I are on track for living till death do we part. I foresee no reason to change that at any point in time. We've certainly put each other through the paces, given each other plenty of reasons to quit and give up on the relationship, but both of us are committed to till death do we part. And as we'll always tell people, we have done plenty, everything humanly possible to destroy a relationship, and God has done everything humanly possible to help us keep it together. So, God wins. Ha ha ha. Can't beat the Almighty in that. Yeah, you know, when you've had real love and then you lose it, I think that's one of the most painful things to go through. So I can't really say how I would handle it. I know I would turn to Christ with it, but I don't know how I would handle it in terms of, this is the weird thing, you know, when my son got old enough to leave home and he went to boot camp that summer, nobody ever prepares you, I guess, really for what it's like to be an empty nester when your kid leaves home. And maybe there's just nothing anybody could do to prepare you, but I grieved his loss in ways I didn't even expect. It was kind of like he wasn't dead, but he was gone, and I knew that the things that we had shared together when he was at home, we would never be again. It would never be the same, our relationship. And so there was a measure of grief that I felt over that. And, you know, it's hard to explain to people who haven't been in through it, who haven't experienced that loss. But it's like losing a limb you didn't even know you had, because, you know, everywhere you go, you're reminded, oh yeah, my kid's not there. Oh yeah, my kid's not coming home. Oh yeah. I don't need to shop the way I used to shop for him anymore. You know, I don't need to think about the things that he's going to want or need because he's not there anymore. You know, there's a million little habits you develop around the people that you love. Things that you do, things that you buy, routines that you have that are just centered around their needs and the things they like and enjoy. And then all of a sudden you've got to adjust to life without them. And that means that everything that they used to like and enjoy becomes a reminder of the fact that they're no longer with you. And I imagine that that is a very, very limited foretaste of what awaits you when your kid leaves home, or what awaits you when your spouse dies. And that's why I know when Randy, or when Ubi, if Ubi dies before me, it will not be an easy thing. Because so much of my life has been tangled up in that man. And basically everything I do takes into consideration him. And he won't be there. So that's not something I'm really looking forward to, per se, although I recognize that it may come my way eventually. One of the two of us is going to die first, if we don't manage to die together. So, it's... I mean, neither one of us are getting any younger, that is for sure. I'm just hoping that by the time that happens, we'll have support networks built up, adequate support networks built up to the point where it won't be quite as devastating as it could be. Ooh, I want this darker. Much, much darker. It's too light. Too light, too bright. It needs to be almost black. Christ redeems the suffering. Well, it seems obvious to say, but I will tell you this, that many people do not really understand how Christ would redeem suffering, or, you know, they may know it intellectually, but their heart doesn't believe it. You know, it kind of takes a while of working through suffering with Christ to understand how that works. I mean, I've spent a lot of my life working through suffering with Christ, so I do know that he does turn all things to the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose, and I firmly believe that. But it's taken me a long time to get there. And a lot of hardship and suffering along the way, and having experienced and tasted the goodness on the other side of that, to really put faith in it. Because that's an easy thing to say and a harder thing to live. It's easier when you guys both knew them, and you can share both the joys and the sorrows that came, and you both understand the journey that you've been through. That adds some levels of consolation. You know, it's nice to have somebody who understands where you're coming from, to talk things over with. Somebody who knew and appreciated the person you loved the most. I'm sure that helps. It's one of the hard things about life, is trying to explain situations that somebody's never encountered before, and hoping they'll understand, and often just don't and can't. And you recognize that. So finding somebody who's been through it and can kind of understand where you're coming from, that helps. It's like, I am not alone in this. Yeah, I think that looks nice. I think I'm liking where that's at. Kind of got that cloud-like effect in the corners there. Dark sky, but still slightly clouded, which is kind of what I want. Not full clouds, but definitely overcast. Yeah, I think I like that. Hey, it's 2 yards. Good to see. Good to see you. It is a peaceful place to live in when you can accept that all suffering is its own gift. In fact, oh man, if you'd have told me that when I was, well, 20, I'd have told you were insane. But just a few years later, it's pretty much exactly what God would tell me one time. It was like, I was going through a really rough patch. We were not sure how we were paying for rent or anything. And for the first time in my life, I had always, before this point, turned away from God when the suffering came. And that day, I turned to Him. And I said to God, I said, you know, I know these problems are big for me, but they're nothing for you. I know that you can help me get through them if I turn them over to you, and I'm just asking you to help me make it through. And I don't know how you're going to answer me, but I know that you will. And it was a couple of hours later, and I heard Him tell me, your suffering is a gift. So that you don't have to suffer what you were due in eternity, or being given a chance to suffer just a small fraction of what you were actually due in eternity. So this is not me not loving you. This is me loving you so much I'm willing to let you suffer a small fraction of what you were due in eternity, so that you don't have to go through that afterlife. I was like, oof, ouch, thank you. Painful to hear, but grateful for the willingness to let me suffer it now. And then, you know, He told me some other things too. Told me the floodgates of prosperity would begin to open up to me that August. And of course, I was very materialistic and thought immediately that that meant money. It wasn't what He meant at all, but you know, oop, that's what I needed. Not the black, but the gray. Yeah. So what's up with you, 2 yards? How things going, man? Keeping busy making music still for me? I am sorry I haven't been catching your premieres lately. Things have been going a little sideways for me, but I hope to put it on a playlist and go ahead and loop through all of it soon. do such a great job with your videos and your music. If you guys haven't checked out 2 Yard stuff, you really should. It's amazing. Yeah, he produces so much music, but it's not going to be just the music. I mean, what impresses me the most is the way he always manages to find a cool video with that, and I truly admire the videography skills. It's something I'm trying to learn, but I definitely don't have anywhere close to the mastery of it. So, but I can admire those who do and appreciate the skill. Yes, I know the music is the main thing, 2 Yards, but I will say that your videography skills really help sell the music. Um, don't underestimate that because it's actually a lot of people can do the music side. Some people can do the videography side, but the amount of people who can combine both effectively, that's a rare gift. And it's like you've got the feel for the fact that the video needs to be a storytelling engine, not just pictures and images tossed together. Because you have a really good way of telling a story with the visuals that you choose. And so it makes it feel like the music is a member of the cast in the story. It's a character of its own that is helping to tell the story, sell the story almost. You know, I don't know how to. I guess I don't know how to describe it better than what I'm doing. I hope that makes sense. I hope you get what I'm going for. Yeah, it's a sincere compliment to Yards because it's you have a great sense of what story goes with the music, what the flow should be, how the visuals should match the feel of the music, the vibe it's giving off, and that's actually a talent and a gift. And I'm sure you take an effort to hone the skill of doing the videography, but that's not the same. You can put a pretty video together and not have it match the music really well. But when you can do both, when you can match the music to the video, it just adds so much to the experience. I think the key to great art of any kind is the ability to know what story you're telling and then keep that story coherent so that it never causes the viewer to question the story you're telling. To question it they can just experience it. They can just allow it to touch them and reach their emotions. How did I make this 3D looking? It's about knowing where to put the shadows, really, because the shadows are what add the depth that 3D offers. The shadows are what, if I just had it flat one color, it wouldn't look 3D, it would look flat and unshaded. But when you start adding the shadows in and you start kind of giving it that layered look to it, that's when it starts popping as 3D. Starts looking like a real space. And then, of course, knowing which direction to texture it. What direction do you want those eyes to flow? That's the direction you need to bring the shading to. Because the eyes tend to follow the line of the brush strokes. And so when you're creating a work of art, your question is always, where do you want the viewer's eyes to land by the time all is said and done? What do you want to highlight with the way that you've got your brush strokes? And really, everything should be framed. And when I say framed, it's like kind of like with videography, how you put certain things emphasized in the shot by how you frame the camera angle. Well, it's much the same way in art. You're looking at, what do I really want the viewer to take note of? Or having, I consider art to be like a conversation between you and the viewer. And it's a visual conversation. So the way that you structure things, the places you place things, those tell the viewer what you think is important. Now, that doesn't control how the viewer is going to interpret what you did, because they're going to bring their own biases, their own life experiences, their own assumptions into your art with them. And so that's why it's a conversation starter. It's never a conversation ender. It's always going to be the situation of them having this conversation with you about what they see when they look at your art versus what you intended for them to see. The two things can always be very different. And as an artist, sometimes some artists get upset about that, but I think it's a natural byproduct of what art is really supposed to be. In fact, right now, the way the visuals are set up, this looks like the steps are going down, when in fact what I wanted is for them to look like they're going up. So I'm going to have to adjust that. got about 20 more minutes before Ubi's stream starts, and so once that clock hits that 45 minute, I will be dropping you guys off into Ubi's stream so you can enjoy that. Guys have anything that you would like me to promote with you, you're welcome to drop that in the chat. I'll give you wrenches so you can. Not really happy with that step area at all. Have to erase that, kind of reblock it. And yeah, Malachi, if you didn't know, Mini Guitar Society is a fabulous drummer. He's been drumming since he was 4, and he really does a great job of it and puts out quite a few drum tracks. So if you're ever looking for something, a backing track to add, for instance, to your music, I highly recommend checking out his channel and seeing what he's got available. I don't know if he takes requests, but he might. Can always ask. I may just cheat with these stairs for a moment. Sometimes it's easier to do an angle if you're looking at it the way you need to have it looked at. change that direction, what does it do for us? See if this helps any get my perspective straightened out. Sometimes fixing your artwork is a matter of just changing the direction you're looking at it from, because really that's what art is all about. It's about the perspective you're looking at things from. The angle where you see it won't be the same as the angle other people would see it if they were looking at the same thing, which is what makes each individual artist have something of value to contribute, even if they're drawing the same things. 2 yards. See you later, man. Thanks for popping in. Two yards is the baby of the group. He'll be 19 soon. Just a young lad. Very talented, though. The drawing is upside down, specifically, Malachi, to help me adjust my perspective, something I mentioned earlier. I wasn't happy with how the stairs were coming together, and sometimes the best way for me to fix that problem is to literally change my perspective on what I'm seeing, so that I look at it from a different angle. I know it probably throws you off while you're looking at it, but that is the purpose of turning it upside down, is to literally help me look at my artwork from a different angle. And thereby maybe get past whatever hurdle I'm facing and making it feel the way I want it to. Which in this case it was giving the wrong directional vibe to me. And I'm hopeful that this will help me fix that problem. And now I can kind of see why I was having a difficulty earlier and why it wasn't working quite the way I wanted it to. This needs to be lighter. And there's that ridge there that's kind of giving me the... There we go. Now it's starting to shape up. There we go. That's better. Yeah, sometimes it just takes a little bit of a perspective shift to see why things aren't working in your art. And once you do give yourself that perspective shift and you come back to normal, then it becomes very apparent what was missing or what needs to be done to fix it. Now the stairs appear to be going up rather than down as they were earlier, which is exactly what I wanted them to do. Whew, that's been a lot of work. We have got 4 minutes to go until until we're going to take a short break before Ubi's stream begins. Well, yeah, I can imagine flipping your guitar upside down and trying to play it left-handed would probably give a right-handed person quite the headache. It might not work at all. But that is one of my sneaky techniques for getting things straightened out when nothing else is working. Turn it upside down and see what you see when you're not looking at it from the usual way. Quite often I find that helps me figure out what I did wrong or what I need to do to fix it. Now let's see, with this background in place, let's pop in the rest of our figures and see what we got going on. Boop, 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 boop. Are we done yet? No, we've got a long way to go. Looks pretty freaky right here. I'm telling you, that's what it is. Freaky looking, that's what it is. Boop, boop, boop. Put some clothes on that boy. Running around naked still. Woo. Let there be light, and there was. Yeah, he really pops against that background, which is good. Go down here and add the bull. Whoop. The bull needs to come up above the platform. That's the kind of thing you catch when you're doing this. And give her angel. Angel needs to come above the mountains. Ba-doop. There we go. We need to move that bull back. He's on top of the steps. We don't need that. So our bull is going to have to move back and shrink slightly. He is too large in terms of perspective. There we go. There we have him. The angel likewise is also taking up too much of the canvas. She'll need to move slightly. Bring her up there. There we have it. Yeah. There we have most of the album done. We're going to add the lettering next time. But I am really happy with how this has turned out and how it's coming along. Thank y'all for joining me. I hope to see you in Ubi's stream. You guys are awesome. If I don't see you tonight, or if I don't see you Wednesday, be sure and have a very Merry Christmas. And if I don't see you before the new year, have also a Happy New Year. Yes, that's an order. Ha 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 ha. Pop up my YouTubes. Whew. You guys are so awesome. Just showing up makes you awesome. Let me find my YouTube so I can turn this off for you. Come on.